So on the off chance that you didn't already hear about this, you probably should check your email just to be sure, because you may be one of the channels that is about to lose partnership program status. YouTube just released a statement talking about how in the next 30 days, if you haven't hit the threshold of 1,000 subscribers or 4,000 hours of watch time this year, you won't be able to monetize your videos. With this new requirement, some of you are probably very frustrated because you were so close to hitting the original marker, and or you have been a partner, but because you haven't uploaded as much this year, you are now kind of being demoted. So I want to talk about some of my thoughts, some of my reactions, and some of my plans moving forward. Last night when I read this, I was so bummed out. And honestly, I've had to have a come to Jesus moment this morning, because I had to be real with myself and understand that both of these channels that are in danger of being demonetized have not necessarily made me any money. I haven't relied on them for income, and I haven't paid as much attention to them as my main channel, which has 15 million minutes of watch time. Apparently, you just gotta be making content daily about news. I mean, a lot of which will get demonetized, because when you talk about the Tide Pod Challenge, ooh, they don't want you talking about the Tide Pod Challenge. I literally have a video where I have dildos in the thumbnail, but the Tide Pod Challenge, me talking about it, was demonetized. That's fine. That's fine. Limited ads, I'll take limited ads. We'll do limited ads all day. So if you thought this was gonna be a video where I just go in on YouTube, it's not gonna be a video where I go in on YouTube. I am gonna give some tough love, because I've been around here longer than some of you have been alive. And so I'm gonna give you the real, but this is not gonna stop me from making videos. This is not gonna stop me from having the work ethic I do. This is really gonna change very little for me. So let's talk about some things. Number one, I wish that YouTube had given us more than a 30-day window. I wish that we had been told this a while ago. You know, I've been taking a huge risk, taking my music off of Tonjus, which is where the majority of the eyes are, the majority of the subscribers are, and trying to make a strategic move to put my music on Megan Tonjus. This used to be a vlog channel, and then with Instagram stories and all the things that have popped up, I just don't vlog anymore. If anything ever gets placed, it makes sense that people will be looking up Megan Tonjus on YouTube, not just Tonjus. And so this separation of content for me strategically felt right, and just generally felt right, because there are multiple things I want to do, and there are multiple spaces and verticals I want to exist in. And when I cram all of that content together in the same place, a lot of it gets missed, or people just don't like that back and forth. This shift on YouTube, I think, highlights a blessing and a curse of YouTube, especially when it comes to the changes that are bound to happen, that have happened, and are going to continue to happen and cause this sort of fracturing between the community and the business of YouTube. And that is that at any point, anyone could blow up on this site, could become huge, could become the next thing, could find the next trend. And at any point, with the click of a button and the algorithm, it could be done. That is horrifying. As a creative person, when you find a place where you can create a business and you can balance what you're doing creatively with getting paid, and there's no stability to that, what happens is it puts a lot of pressure on your creativity, and it gives you this fear, this constant little nagging bit of fear. What if tomorrow's the day that I don't make money doing this, and will I still do it here, and will I still want to do it at all? And everyone has a different answer to that question, and a different level of requirements for what's going to make them move on, or what's going to make them shift and pivot and be strategic in a different way. We have known for a while that YouTube is valuing engagement and watch time over views. I feel like it's harder to get people to subscribe than ever. And so really, now it's about roping them in and making sure that they stay, and or that tag game is up so that you're in every related video. This shift, for good and for bad, is going to change the kind of content that a lot of people make, the amount of content that other people make, and it's just gonna change the strategy in general. The smartest thing I ever did was start making daily videos on Tonjus, making topical news content, doing stuff that was sustainable and quick for me to shoot and edit. My real concern, and probably what's gonna end up happening, is this quota a yearly quota? Is this the new minimum, the new norm for what you have to hit to stay in the program? It's 4,000 hours this year. Next year, is it 40,000 hours? Is it 400,000 hours? As these channels continue to just explode globally and have 60 million subscribers, it's gonna keep bringing up the bottom. I think hearing this news last night was a big struggle for creators that deal with disabilities, that deal with mental or physical health, and maybe haven't been as active active on the site or don't have an entire team behind them to be cranking out daily 20-minute videos, who this was a little bit of a side hustle for. And you know, $50 or $100 to someone might not seem like a lot of money, but for some people that is life-changing. And so I understand the frustration of losing that and feeling like you're not a part of this very important club, because the question really becomes, if a video doesn't have monetization on it, how far down the search is it pushed? Logically, it would seem that videos that have ads on them that are making both a YouTuber and YouTube money would be prefaced over videos that have no monetization. And so this thing that felt like it was kind of leveling the playing field a little bit, that anyone has a chance of being seen, now is sort of another obstacle. Because on top of this, when you lose your partnership, you can't do end slates, you can't do cards, you can't link out to other sites. So for those of us who have podcasts, who have Patreon, musicians that can't compete with these 20-minute daily vlogs being able to link to their iTunes, it's an issue. You know, if you bring someone in to watch your video, the goal with cards and an end slate is that you keep them on your content. If you don't have access to those tools anymore, you're potentially losing that watch time. So let's talk a little bit about why YouTube seems to be doing this, or why they might be doing this, because there isn't a ton of transparency, which I understand. If there's an issue, if someone is exploiting the site in a certain way, you want to bring attention to it, but you don't want people to hone in on it and be able to abuse it before you stop it. There's an issue with people taking content and re-uploading it on smaller channels, getting ads on that content, getting money from that content before either Content ID gets it or it gets reported. When those channels get shut down, they just create another channel. And this is where I'm frustrated, because this is something that now is a main focus because of loss of income and ads. But I actually think it's a bigger implication when it comes to harassment and doxing. A lot of creators on this site have had to deal with not only death threats and not only harassment, but doxing. And I think this is a genius idea, and I want Google to love it as much as I love it. But I think that when we are getting a check from AdSense, you can confirm our personal information. I don't understand why then someone can go on Google and search for that information, why you can't block it. The safety of creators is one of the most overlooked and one of the most important things, because not everyone lives in a gated community. Not everyone has security. People are well known, but aren't making enough money to deal with kind of the negative side of that. And I desperately want Google to use their resources to keep creators safe. So for instance, when people create a bunch of smaller accounts over and over again and they get shut down, they create another one with another email address to upload content to get views. When those same people are doxing other creators, when they are leaving harassment and death threats, and then their account gets shut down because they get reported enough times and they create another one, I don't understand why Google can't block an IP address for 30 days to dissuade them from doing it. I think that would be one of the biggest deterrents and something that would increase the safety of actual YouTubers. And I'm not discounting how important money is, but I just think that that is a bigger issue, and that's where the focus should be, not just taking away their ability to put ads on something. I also don't know if this is a reaction to the Logan Paul situation or Adpocalypse or anything that's happening. I can assume that it is, because these creators do horrible things and the advertisers get pissed and they leave the site, which is not something that YouTube or the creator want to happen. But a lot of these big creators are like little baby children that are testing out their limits and their boundaries and seeing how far they can go and what they can do before like Daddy YouTube shows up. And I wish when Daddy YouTube showed up, I wish Daddy YouTube would put a strike on that channel. Ooh, you violated the TOS. Don't care that you have 30 million subscribers. There's a little X for you. Ooh, you got 2 of those X's. You know 3 marks of the spot. You're probably not gonna put a dead body in your next thumbnail. These YouTubers have more to lose than just a YouTube Red Show or a brand deal. Their main source of income and their main platform is on YouTube. So when they violate the TOS, I'm expecting strikes on that ass is what I'm expecting. When creators like Cat Black get a strike on their account for creating educational content, and then in comparison, Logan Paul still has ads, they're just not preferred and he's on less billboards, that doesn't seem fair. That to me says there's a glaring issue on the preference and the treatment of certain creators. And I understand why smaller YouTubers are sitting here thinking like, why are we being punished for something that this dude did? Like, obviously the people that are doing the worst shit are at the top of this site, and advertisers go along with it and they're fine with all of their racist, problematic, whatever, because they're not really paying attention, which I'm also holding the advertisers responsible too. If you want to be selective of who you're putting stuff on, you need to have a dedicated person watching the actual content that your brand's connected to, not sitting there and collecting money on views until it's a PR disaster and then backing away. I need you to be proactive. I need you to differentiate between good views and views and where your company wants to align. When we get punished for like Logan Paul and some of these bigger YouTubers doing stuff, it feels like you're being punished for something your older brother did and something that wouldn't be as bad if mom and dad would have listened to the neighbors that have been bitching for the past 2 or 3 years that this kid keeps setting mattresses on fire and having his dad kiss underage girls. I saw that video. Like, this is who we're aligning with. Today I woke up, I listened to a lot of other creators talking about their experience and also what they think is happening or what is going to happen. One of the things that kept coming up was this idea that because it's going to be a smaller group of people that are getting ads, the ads will pay more. And that's awesome. Like, yay, I like money. Money helps pay my rent. That's really cool. But I'm gonna ask the question, if all of a sudden it's a more select group of creators, one that YouTube trusts more, they entrust us to not screw up on the TOS, what are the chances of us getting paid more than our 40% AdSense? Because that's something you don't think about when you think about AdSense. You don't think about the fact that we only get paid 40% of what YouTube makes. I'm just saying, like, maybe if it's a more select group of people, we could work out a better deal, you know, like give me a 50% of my ads. I'm so thankful for YouTube, and I'm so thankful to have a place where I can put up these huge files and this stuff that I'm creating at the rate that I'm creating it, and I can share that with other people. But I'm just saying, if like YouTube is gonna sweeten the pot for the advertisers, I got rent to pay. This is how every relationship works. You know, you make a statement and then I ask you for more money. That's actually every relationship that I've ever had. So back in the day when I applied for the partnership program, I actually got denied twice. Now, you could only apply like every 3 months. You had to fill out an entire essay form talking about why your channel deserved to be partnered, what you brought to the table essentially, and then you prayed and you waited for YouTube's response. Becoming partner was a huge deal. It wasn't something that everyone had. And so when YouTube decided to open up monetization kind of across the board, a lot of partners had issues with that. A lot, maybe you don't want to talk about it, partners, but a lot of you had issues with it. A lot of you were shit talking online. So I just want you to think about that and remember that as you're sitting kind of crying about the underdog and the smaller YouTuber. A lot of you had an issue with it. And I think a lot of this was because Google Plus and wanting to bring a lot of people in and get them invested on the site. That didn't work out so well. And so I think we're kind of seeing a reversion back. I also think this highlights what YouTube wants, which is not to have like one viral video from someone. They want someone that has consistent virality. Someone that when they bring an advertiser in, they can say, well, this person consistently gets 200,000 minutes a month of watch time and they have this much engagement. And so it's going to kind of upsell them on putting ads on our videos. This is me trying to talk from the business perspective and remove my like nostalgic, like child of YouTube mindset and be realistic. This is what they're doing as a business. This is what they're looking for. I do think that in a lot of ways, people who are just starting channels or who have started channels in the past 5 years have an advantage in the fact that you have seen how we all have screwed up. You have seen what works, what doesn't work, and you understand the idea of being a brand. So you can avoid a lot of the pitfalls that a lot of creators have gone through. But old school YouTubers, people like me who have been around since 2006, remember YouTube before you made money. And so our motivation to start making a channel was different. Our expectation of what a channel could do was different. And so in that way, I think we actually have the advantage because we remember what it was like to work full-time jobs and go to college and only have like an hour Thursday night in a webcam with no lighting to make your one video for the week, or to make your 6 videos that you were gonna upload all on the same day because, ooh, there was no best practices. The downside of those of us who've been around for a long time though is I think we have a nostalgia about YouTube and the YouTube community and the smaller size of things and the lack of maybe as extreme competition. Like, we knew everyone on the site, and it's just not like that anymore. There are pockets of communities and there are people that are huge and massive that you've never heard of. And so a lot of us start to feel left behind because our numbers don't match up to this new system. A lot of us are still thinking about 2006, 2007, 2008 YouTube. We see YouTube as kind of our parent. And we put a lot of responsibility on them for the direction they're supposed to go in and how they're supposed to watch out for us. And that's why the business side of things is so fracturing, and maybe the lack of transparency, or, you know, just finding things out in email. It feels like a betrayal. It's hard, I think, for a lot of us. This is very similar to just growing up in that moment where you start to realize your parents are people. And so this whole facade you had about them being able to protect and take care of you for the rest of your life is kind of gone, because you realize, oh my God, they have their own issues and I have to take care of myself now. I will always have that love for YouTube and the communities that I've been a part of, that I've created, the people, like there are always gonna be good people here. I have no desire to leave this platform. I still like making stuff here. I still get excited about seeing comments on my videos. I still remember what it was like to have to pay for my own website, my own bandwidth, just to make fan videos back in the day. And I don't wanna go back to that world because I don't have that kind of money. And I hold space for all of those feelings and all of those realities, while also understanding that YouTube is a business. There are a lot of opportunities here, but at the same time, you know, as my grandma would say, you can't put your eggs all in one basket. And I never have, and I've never relied on AdSense. AdSense only recently doing daily stuff has even gotten up to a level to be like a quarter or even a third of my income. I always diversified what I was doing because I couldn't rely on this, especially when I was doing music, and I wouldn't put ads on things because there was never a clear-cut way on how to even do that back in the day. And so you did it for the opportunity and hoped that that would bring you the income, as opposed to putting the stuff online and that making the income. And that's why I have podcasts and I have Patreon, and I, you know, was doing live shows and music. This is also the reason why a lot of us have started getting part-time or full-time jobs again. Because there's this constant reshuffling of relevancy, there's not that stability. It's not a normal job where you show up and you say, I put 30 years in here and I show up every morning at 8 a.m. You can't control what a platform does or changes, whether it comes to terms of service or algorithm. We can't get comfortable. And that's in business regardless. You have to be able to almost see ahead of the curve and see what's going to happen. And when it does happen, be able to make moves and put yourself and position yourself in a way that will lead you to other opportunities. Not all of us are gonna make it on YouTube. I think the full-time YouTuber is kind of a myth. It's something that we all strive for. It is something that would be so, I can't even imagine putting up videos every day and just knowing that like money is going into the account, money is going into the retirement account, and that all I have to do is show up and make something. And there are people that have achieved that dream. There are people that have achieved that dream that won't have that dream forever, that are gonna have to elevate beyond that or find other things to do, because things change. They do not stay the same. That is the one constant that you are going to discover in life, that nothing stays the same, not even YouTube. And this is a scary time for a lot of us, because a lot of us are having to evaluate and reevaluate the time that we put into the platform, the time that we put into the content that we're making, the difference between content that we love and content that does well, strategically how to bridge those two things, and if we can, and if this is even the platform to do it. It's not a fair system. It's not built to be a fair system. And I'm telling you this as much as I'm telling me this, because I feel the same entitlement to this site. I feel the same frustration. I feel the same fear. I am here to lovingly critique YouTube all day because I'm invested and I care and I want to stay here. I don't want to look for other platforms. And even as I'm saying that, I understand that that clouds my ability to be realistic with myself when it comes to how well the content is doing and how sustainable it is as its standalone job. We really have to restructure what our intentions for this site are and what our expectations of this site are. How can you be strategic while staying true to your message, while using YouTube as a springboard for all of the opportunities that exist within it and without it? Trying to figure it out while not letting anyone know that we're panicking a little bit, because when you let people know that you're panicking a little bit, they start to realize that you don't have it all together, and they're less likely to buy your t-shirts. So what does this mean for me and my channels going forward? So Tonjus is not affected. Tonjus, which I was smart enough to jump on that daily and trending and news train, last count has like 15 million minutes of watch time or something from just like, I think that like the past few months, because you guys show up and you show out and you engage, and I'm so thankful. Life Size Beauty is going to be affected. I'm not as upset about that one because it is a small channel out of the three. I haven't really given it the attention that it needs and deserves, and I haven't built it the way that I want to. So that's fine. Megan Tonjes is the one that I'm bummed out about, because I really was trying to transition that into my music site, and I just chose the wrong year to deal with mental health issues, apparently, and the wrong time, because that does have over 30,000 subscribers, and it does have over 4 million minutes of watch time in its lifetime, but I took a year off. However, two things. One, I'm not done. I'm not going anywhere. If people want to leave, I support you. You can do whatever you want, but I'm here. I don't know if I'm going to beat the odds, but I'm sure as hell going to try. I'll be patient. I'll put in the work. I'll be strategic. I'll do what I have to do to leverage the audience to make the content that I want to make. Am I a little bummed out that by the time I put out an EP and put up original music videos, I won't be able to put ads on it? I'm a little bummed out, but I've been a part of this landscape for long enough that I think I'll find a point to jump back on at the right moment, and my stuff will end up where it needs to be. Because I fully understand that some of the biggest stuff on the site is not the best stuff. And you also don't need to be the biggest thing on the site to make a living or to have really cool opportunities. I feel like this is a challenge, and I'm ready for the challenge, because if there's anything I know I can control, it's my work ethic, and it's my ability to look at what's happening and figure out things that feel good in like my spirit, things that I would watch and make that. And so I'm just gonna work my ass off. I'm absolutely gonna show up every day, all of day, and I'm gonna work my ass off. Though that brings us to our second thing, which is I've actually created a playlist for my second channel, Megan Tonjes, that has some of my most recent covers, as well as a few vlogs from the past year, because that will factor into the watch time. I put those things in a playlist. I would love if you opened up that playlist in another window, watch those videos. Now, I can't tell you whether to have the sound on or not. I would love for you to engage with them and to watch them, but what you do with your time and your computer is up to you. Share them with a friend, you know, if you want and if you feel called to do so. I would love to get the watch time for that channel up so that I don't fall below the quota in this 30-day date. But also in general, I would just like you to check out the channel, because I'm gonna be putting more music up there, and that's a good place to be. Finally, because listen, I love looking out for myself, but I also wanna help out some of the BBs, because I know a lot of you are dealing with the same issues. I created a playlist. Any of you can add a video to this playlist. I will have that running until the cutoff date for the new monetization rules. I will also be monitoring it, so do not abuse it. Let's use nice things nicely so that I can continue to do this in the future. But you can add a video to it. Add your best video. And I can't promise that, you know, being a part of this playlist is magically gonna get your watch time up so much that you meet the requirements. But what I can promise, and I can promise this because I know the BBs are the best BBs in the world, you're about to get a lot more support on the stuff that you're making. And maybe this is a way for us to kind of grow together and bridge that gap a little bit and create a little bit more of that feeling of community, which is why I love you guys so much in the comments, because you really like, I will share something from one of you having a hard day, and the rest of you will jump in and give well wishes and offer to talk, and it is incredible to watch, and not everyone gets to see that kind of stuff on the internet. So the link to my playlist is below. Definitely go check that out, and the link to the playlist that's more interactive and open to the BBs to share their work is below as well. If we're bringing things back and they're not video responses, YouTube, we might as well bring back sub for sub. Only kind of kidding. If you want to watch more of my videos, definitely subscribe to the channel. You can find me Megan Tonjes on most things, and I would super appreciate you saying hi to your grandmas for me, because I got places to go, I got people to touch. I like your faces very much, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.